Hey guys. Guess what? I don't know if you've heard this. Now, brace yourselves. Sit down. We're all sitting down, but brace yourselves. I don't know if you've heard this, but I think we're in a new era of WWE. It's not like they've been telling us every bloody show. But I digress. Good morning. Welcome to BunkaMania Wrestling live here on Twitch and also over on the YouTube channel as well. It's a nice live episode this Saturday morning. We are going to be talking all things WWE after Mania. It's been a very eventful week and a bit, and we are finally out of WrestleMania season. So we're going to be talking about Raw after Mania. We'll be talking about SmackDown after Mania, as well as a few other little wrestling things like an AEW thing that may have happened this past week. But yeah, that's generally what's on the card for this live episode today. So if you're in the Twitch chat and you'd like to get involved, do get involved. Say hi. Let us know your thoughts. It'd be lovely to hear you. Same if you're over on the YouTube channel as well. Do let us know what you've been thinking about WrestleMania, even if you haven't shared your thoughts about what happened last week, which me and Harriet will be doing very, very shortly. Yes, just let us know how you're feeling in the world of wrestling today. It'll be lovely. And of course, if you do like the video on, if you like the video here on Twitch, or if you like it on YouTube, hit the follow and subscribe buttons on each platform. It'll be great to get your support. And of course, speaking of guests, I am joined by resident BunkaMania team members. I am joined by, of course, Harriet, aka MangaGirl.
Hello. Oh God.
Hello. The voice still hasn't recovered from last weekend, has it?
No.
Is it? No.
It's broken every day.
Yeah. Try not to destroy my voice at the same time. And of course, he was live on Monday with Jeremy MattyBoo. How are you doing, Matty?
I'm doing absolutely great, Michael. And by the way, it is currently 13 degrees centigrade here in Brighton. Just so everybody needs to know, it is currently 13 degrees centigrade. It is so cold.
So does that mean, Matty, does that mean we need to wear hats?
Yes, and your gloves. Wrap up warm because it's cold. It's so cold in this natural British springtime.
Does wine help?
For you, yes. For me, no. I'm teasing.
Good.
There you go. I found the hat.
And you were worried about your hair before recording.
I know. I've ruined it.
I mean,
Never mind.
The challenge, Harriet, would have been you could have worn that for the entire stream, and then we just slowly see you get more and more uncomfortable in the sweat.
We were
We already am. We don't need the hat.
we were talking about this before the call. That's why I brought up the temperature. I'm 13 degrees centigrade. Harriet is currently living in 19 degrees centigrade at 10 to 11 in the morning. So, yeah, that was a wise choice there.
And I have no windows open either.
And from Snap Grapple Pop, centigrade, thanks for making me feel young. Hope you're doing well, Snap. Lovely to see you in the chat. Right, so let's get this show underway. So, last weekend was WrestleMania 40, really monumental, and I think for me it's a really monumental and big WrestleMania. So myself and Harriet, we're just gonna share our highline thoughts on this because we weren't on the stream on Monday because we were understandably recovering from 2 long nights down at the Hooked on Wrestling event, which was also done with Wrestle Talk. So it was really, again, it was really good to just watch it with a crowd because I don't know how certain things would have hit if I was watching this by myself per se. It's me, so I've got used to watching like the very big shows on with just the crowd and with friends and all that sort of stuff. So, but no, Harriet. You kick us off on your thoughts on this one.
It's like you said. I think we've been sport in regards to watching it with people now, with a crowd, and it was just like, I think if it was on your own, it would have been like hooray sort of thing. I think I probably would have been more emotional if it was on my own, but because I was so in the moment and hyped up and excited, it was just like obviously losing my voice, screaming, just so happy. But the event itself was just really good. Like I said, the big 4-0, so it was one of those shows that had to be big in its own right, and it definitely was. And it I know you said like with the new era, it definitely feels like it now going forward, where it's like so many books have shut, and now it's just like, okay, so what's going to happen now? But for the 2 nights, truly enjoyed it, every moment of it, and it was just, as a fan, it was just so good to be part of and with other people, and you could just hear everyone else react. Some of the things, the crowds would like boo and some, and like questionable in regards to what was going on, but wrestling fans. It was just amazing. It was just a great way to watch the pay-per-view, and couldn't really been any better than what it was. I think for the matches, what they were, some were not as good as others, and then some were much better than what you thought they would be, sort of thing. So in all, a very good pay-per-view both nights. I preferred night 2 overall to night 1, though there was a couple of matches, one match in particular night 1 I really loved, which if it was in night 2, then it would have just been absolutely perfect for me. So
I think I share a lot of your sentiment on that one. I think this is a really, really strong WrestleMania. I think night 2 in itself has an argument for being one of the best WrestleMania evenings of all time. Just simply because it's like it was a card that just seemed to kick off into high gear from the moment Seth and Drew started with the Claymore, and just kind of carried on until it's sort of like euphoric ending with Cody finally finishing the story. That's not to say night 1 was a complete waste. Night 1 was entertaining. There's some really good matches. I think Becky Rhea had a good match. Gunther Sammy was excellent. Even enjoyed the ladder tag match, and even the long-winded big tag match at the end. It was kind of like it was the theatricality you would expect from the people involved, especially when it's Dwayne. So night 1 was a decent night. There were some notable sorts of blips. Jimmy and Jay, for example. But no, night two really, really kicked off into gear. Strong matches like Profits and Final Testament had a fun match. It was silly. Montez almost launched himself into the audience. It was fun to watch. LA Knight and AJ Styles had a much better match than I think anyone ever anticipated. So it's like, that's cool. That's nice to see on a big stage. Io and Bayley really, really strong as well. And then obviously the final chapter of finishing the story and the current iteration of the bloodline with Cody beating Roman Reigns. A lot of things like the presentation of WrestleMania this year has been just sensational in terms of like how they did the ring announcements, like in 8K. You got the 8K camera came back in when they were doing, and it's kind of like, I remember that 8K camera. They had that in the Thunderdome when people were entering the Royal Rumble or just entering the arena. But it's just like, just seeing it's like, oh, you had an extra bits to that. Staging was quite fun. I know a lot of people kind of frowned a bit on the stage, but I think it was quite suitable, the XL stage.
It was okay. Yeah.
It was good. Once you saw people's Titantrons and all that sort of kick off, it was really nice. Really nice as well.
Yeah. For intros as well, especially for for Seth's and for Drew's, they were just like, you needed that capacity. How many people came out?
You absolutely did.
That's been the story for the entire week, if you factor in SmackDown and Raw as well, where the maximum capacity crowd. He even made a joke saying, well, we can't watch this on the big Tron, let's wheel out a television.
Yes, hey Cody, I've made you a video. Let's watch it on this tiny monitor. Cinema. Christopher Nolan would be seething if he heard you right now, Matty. He really would. But no, some of my highlights. I just like the whole entrances for like the main event and just the orchestra for Reigns. It's just like I've been rewatching that a lot. I love that mix of Reigns' theme, and I hope they make that available like as a proper track on Spotify, because it's just so cinematically gigantic and just like this is the final battle. So it's kind of like this is the final boss above the final boss per se.
Cody's was really good as well, like the whole remix beforehand, like like you said, the final battle. This is it. But it was just so good. I must give a shout out to Naomi. Bianca
and Jade.
And Jade. Oh my god!
Because didn't Bianca have like the Cyclops visor?
Yes. Yeah.
She did. She was. It was kind of like a bit of an X-Men cosplay going on that stage.
And Storm, but I don't know what Naomi was wearing. It kind of reminded me of Mortal Kombat. You know, the character with the hat.
Oh yeah.
Can I interject here? Because as Harry will know, when we had our post podcast meeting afterwards, me and Jeremy, we were absolutely blank and said, I'm sure we missed something out here. And then I thought, we forgot about this match. And Jeremy was absolutely forlorn about that. I will say, these three women need to stay as a faction, but be used sparingly, because the three of them together literally were like absolute towers of super womanhood. It was absolutely amazing to watch, and I hope they capitalize on that. But used sparingly, the three of them will be amazing.
Yes, because I think at the moment with SmackDown last night, Bianca and Jade made very short work of Chelsea Green and Piper Niven very, very quickly. So I think they are positioning Bianca and Jade as tag team challengers for Damage Control's titles. So I will not be surprised if they win that and go on a little bit of a kind of winning streak of being the most powerful, dominant, strongest team in WWE. So it's like, cool, that's good. I like that. And then when you get around to Mania, probably next season, you start to kind of properly. I sense next year you might see Jade versus Bianca, possibly. Who knows? That's the way I'm kind of. That's the way I'm kind of already thinking in like the storyline kind of things. Okay, they're working together as a team. There's going to be a point where it breaks off, and one of them is going to try and beat the other. That's the sort of thing. But no, I like what we're doing, what they're doing so far with Jay just integrated with Bianca and Naomi. I'm trying to make it's just I think post show is just a general a general kind of yes, this is nice. This is a nice,
a happy feeling.
It was a nice warm fuzzy feeling to have of a wrestling show. And we don't get those too often at the moment, but it's just nice to go. We had a really good weekend. It ended with a very era changing moment with Cody becoming the undisputed WWE champion, and we're ready to kind of progress on the Paul Levesque era, or as Cody's probably has apparently trademarked, the Renaissance era. So it's just like
that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. It's a shame WWE can't use it since Cody's bought it.
Or maybe Cody will say you can use it, but then you have to pay me. It's smart business. Smart business.
I will say my favorite match was the Gunther Sammy saying, like the ending of it. I still remember we were all just hugging each other because it was just like, oh my god, it actually happened.
I think we had a bit of a group hug. We had a bit of a group hug.
Yeah, with Luke as well.
I had no one. I had to hug myself.
You've got some lovely Pokemon plushes behind you. You could have hugged them.
This was in the other room. I was watching it in the living room. My wife was busy playing Stardew Valley. Hug my anime DVDs. Here, boys. Oh, especially you girls. Come on.
All the Transformers there.
Animes, come on.
All the Transformers. They could have given you that reassuring hug after watching Sammy have his Rocky moment.
These things just tower over me and judge me, Ian. They just judge me.
Fair enough.
There's most of my stuff here.
Small little touches as well. The new ident to begin WWE shows, I really, really like. It's very good. Considering everyone's talking about Avengers Endgame for this past weekend, it's like it's very Avengers in Marvel, isn't it? In that sort of way. But no, it's very nice, very beautifully done as well. Just a very solid weekend overall. There's lots of more content coming out at the moment. Damian Priest's vlogs come out yesterday, which was really good to watch. Paul Heyman's vlog for Hall of Fame has come out as well, which was really, really entertaining and emotional to watch as well. We are still waiting for the WrestleMania behind the curtain because apparently the story of this is there's too much footage.
The story is too long to complete.
This documentary is coming out on YouTube, isn't it?
Yes. It was supposed to come out on YouTube this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
It didn't appear, and then some of the news sites like Fightful that started sort of poking and kind of going, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? And then they kind of went, yeah, we filmed too much at WrestleMania, and we're trying to put as much in as possible without it being silly, and it'll be released as soon as Final Cut is approved. So it's like that tells me that's gonna possibly be quite a meaty documentary. If it's
That'd be good to watch.
I would say I expect it to be kind of at this rate probably 45 minutes to an hour long. If that's the case, that's great. More great. It's extra large. Give it more welly, I suppose.
Oh, exactly. Go with the theme.
But it was just to have that almost ready to go as soon as Mania's done. It's like, well, this is new because usually by this time the WWE 24 documentary series has done a documentary of the WrestleMania before. They haven't done one for 39 yet, which makes me sad. I kind of wanted to see because I was scrolling through 24 yesterday and just kind of going, oh yeah. I forget that they've been doing these for WrestleManias every year. And it's like, where's 39? Where's 39? I want to see Cody sad. I want to see the
rubber chicken.
I want to see the movies, the WWE style, that sort of stuff.
I want to interject with Snap Grapple Pop, who's come up with a really salient point here, who says, I can't believe you didn't let Charmander watch WrestleMania with you. I would, but I wouldn't be able to put up with his hot takes. So it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
That's so fiery. That's just so fiery, Matty, but it's fire. But it's so cute and cuddly. Why would you not?
It's too busy. He's too busy having relations with Yoshi at the moment. So
it's 11 a.m. Okay.
Anytime is a hot time with Charmander.
Oh dear. Oh dearie me. But yes, I mean, bottom line, I think most people, I think most of the team are in agreement. It's like it was an excellent Mania overall.
Yes.
Despite the little drops here and there, overall, you end it on the right result. You end it on like an absolute euphoric high. Done and done. Really solid Mania. Really excellent Mania.
Yeah.
Right. So then we definitely go into WWE after Mania because we went straight into Raw after Mania on the Monday. And again, so much to go. The first hour was commercial free. And,
thank God.
And it's like, thank God, well, especially for the segment that opened the show.
Can I recreate that moment right now, Ian?
Okay.
2 seconds. Just a moment, Cody. Just a moment. Now it's time for your promo.
I told you it's like being back at school when the TV and the video was wheeled in.
So the opening to Raw after Mania, we had Triple H obviously introducing people to the new era, introducing Rhodes' his first entrance as champion. They had a little hug out and all that sort of stuff. And then we had a really nice sort of moving video from Triple H of all of Cody's journey. It was a really nicely made video as well. But the real crux of this opening promo, which went for nearly 50 minutes.
It was 45, 50 minutes, yeah.
45, 50 minutes began when the final boss, The Rock, came out. He came out, he put his hands up and he said, "You're champion, you did it, you overcame it, you finished your story. But our story is just beginning." It's like, oh, here we go. But obviously The Rock has started to go. I think he's off doing a film from the makers of Uncut Gems at the moment.
He's doing 2 films.
He's doing 2 films. So he's off back to Hollywood for a bit now. But obviously we're just setting, and I like this, they were just setting the foundations for the next chapter of Cody's story with The Rock, per se. The first thing was the awkward belt swap.
Oh, and the crowd made sure you knew.
This was awkward.
I mean, if anything were to say, you just don't touch the other guy's stuff in front of people. This was it.
I mean, the fact that Cody just held the belt, he didn't actually put it over his shoulder. He just held it awkwardly. I'm like, yeah. But the thing is, it looked good on The Rock. I will say, it did suit him. I'm like,
that's exactly why they did it. And The Rock knew that too.
Mm.
Yeah,
because it's clearly hinting that Rock might get that belt at some point. Maybe, who knows? At some point. So we had the belt swap. Actually, a few things on Facebook. I saw on Facebook a couple of people kind of showing like a throwback video to when The Rock revealed a new championship. I think after he beat CM Punk, and basically Cody Rhodes in his dashing face with mustache was coming in and saying, "I want to look at that belt, which is going to be mine for the next 13 years," which is quite cool for. Yeah, and it was quite a cool throwback. It's like, oh, okay, so there was a little bit of extra layers to that little bit there. So then the crux of this is basically Rock's going away. He is going to come back and deal with Cody at some point. But first, The Rock had a gift. He had it in his pocket. It was going to be placed just in Cody's hand. No one else could see what it is, but Cody would know the moment he would feel it in his hand. And as he put it in his hand, he just said, "Don't you ever break my heart again." And with that, The Rock went off to Hollywood again. And there are so many questions and theories that are going on this one. So who wants to make a guess of what's in the hand and what these "don't ever break my heart" referring to?
Me, sir.
Matty.
I've heard two things. Number one, it's probably the lighter that set light to Cody's tour bus. And then the other one, which I think might have been fed into what happened in last night's SmackDown, it's a bit of Roman's
the lay.
tribal chief, his lay.
Yeah.
Because just to quickly fast forward this to SmackDown, because this is going to be a hodgepodge, it's going to be all over the place rather than last night saw the new dynamic for the bloodline. But without telling you much of anything through actions, we are led to assume that there's a new higher power in command of the bloodline. We saw the debut of Tama Tonga, although I don't think they introduced him as Tama Tonga.
They did confirm as Tama Tonga.
Yeah.
Right. If anybody knows of anything about the background of the bloodline, they very much consider the Tongan family as an extension of that family. The Rock himself considers Haku his uncle. And that's a big thing in their culture. So very much they consider Tama Tonga the cousin of the Usos. The cousin of the cousins, even if you want to go that far. So this is huge. But also the way the actions... So it pretty much starts with Paul Heyman saying, we follow the orders of our tribal chief. And Solo Sikoa, who appears to now be the figurehead of this new direction going forward, he says, yes, we are following the actions of our tribal chief. Who the hell is that tribal chief? Because we don't know if it's Roman or we don't know if it's The Rock. Because up until now, Heyman has had a phone for both The Rock and Roman. So we don't know. We assume that Heyman is very much on the side of Roman, but he might be a swerve. So we don't know. There is so many questions leading out. But with that being said, right back to The Rock and Cody and what he put in Cody's hand. It could be a lighter. It could be the lay. It could be something else associated with the Rhodes and Bloodline families but that only Cody knows and The Rock knows. It might even be something that we will never find out. It will be one of those mysteries, but it's so enticing in a good way. AEW, we'll get to you later. Here's another thing I want to get off my chest before we move forward. The visual of The Rock with the title in his hand, we assume it means that will be his title eventually. It could also mean he's being hoisted by his own petard, because what started the story, everybody? The visual of Dusty Rhodes holding the WWF title that he never had. The Rock is holding the probably soon-to-be defunct Universal title, a title that as of now, he has never had and may not have. That's another thing you've got to consider.
Yeah. Harriet, any advances on what's in the hand?
It could be something that probably belonged to Dusty maybe years ago. I don't know what. Probably because he did say Dusty was his hero. So it could be something that he gave to him years ago and kind of gave it back as a thing of, well, this is my sign of respect. But I kind of do have a feeling it could be to do with the lay as well. It was probably a thing where you'll never see if was to happen. Roman was no longer made the tribal chief. It was probably torn apart, and then that tiny bit was given to Cody. But I know the light is a very good one. I haven't heard that one yet, but in my theory, I think it could be something to do with Dusty, and that's why I said don't break my heart again. Obviously, it's a big thing because their families grew up in the wrestling industry. Now probably their families are going to grow up, because now a lot of wrestlers now have children. So it's just like, so I have a feeling it's something that belonged to Dusty, and we don't know of it yet, but we will find out, because we probably will never find out. I don't know, but it does add to the air of mystery of what could it be? But I do like the fact that it's hidden for now, because obviously later on down the line when The Rock is back, Cody could reveal it then and say, well, this is what was given to me, and I won't break his heart, but also I will keep my championship as well, sort of thing. So yeah.
I'm under the impression it is the necklace, the leaf. It is. I'm under the impression it is that.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, well, until Heyman turned up last night, I kind of like this idea that Rock was so incensed that he probably beat the hell out of Roman backstage. Roman's gone for so many months, and you think, oh, Roman's just going to say, no, he's just. And also, Roman had a tweet on Twitter and Instagram. I just kind of like the idea from storyline that The Rock dealt with Roman, either turn on him, beat him up, and no one's seen that happen, and everyone's assumed, oh, he's just having time. It's like, no, he's nursing a lot of bad wounds after that. And basically, that's the sense of don't you ever break my heart, because clearly his heart's been broken because Roman's failed, and Cody's made it happen.
Also, we're assuming he got beaten up. It could be that he just literally just took the title off him. He literally Roman hit himself, said, I am not worthy of this anymore.
It could be that. It could be that as well. But I've been considering the SmackDown angle we're about to get. Kind of like, I think a second Bloodline Civil War this time, and I think it's possibly going to be like Reigns and the Usos reunited, possibly against Solo, Tammy, and also apparently signed Jacob for 2. And that will keep you going over the next couple of months. And then when The Rock's back, The Rock probably will be the leader of this new bloodline. And then there you go.
I'm more feeding into the narrative that Roman did stand down because it was a small thing during the tag match, but at one point Roman did actually acknowledge The Rock. So I think that after this, it was a matter of Roman stepped down. I feel that's what's actually happened here, but we will see. We will see on that one. It's wrestling. 2 other things I need to point out. Giraffamy is actually in our Twitch chat right now. If you want to post a comment in BunkaMania, we're currently running live. Please put a comment in, and we will look through it as the stream goes on. Giraffamy, who we wished he was with us, but he's understandably a really busy boy right now. Tama was in the Bloodline family tree at the press conference thing at Las Vegas too. Correct.
Yes.
Basically, that was the biggest family tree chart of the entire family ever. Basically, even had Albright in it. But also, Snap Grapple Pot said, I think The Rock took it too literally when his mum introduced family friends as uncle when he was a kid. No, I'm going to agree to disagree on that one. This is a culture thing, whereas if you are that much into the family, they consider you family. And as far as they're concerned, the entire infrastructure of the bloodline is based on blood brothers. There is 2 halves of this family tree based on a blood brother pact. So there's no actual biological ties, say, between The Rock and Roman Reigns. They're not actual blood family. However, they very much consider themselves family based on that pact alone. And that is paramount. It is sacred to this. It's a big tribal thing. And the fact that they took Haku under their wing and his entire extended family are folded into that family is a huge thing. So yes, they very much are allowed to be in that family. It's not just a literal thing, it's a cultural thing, it's a tribal thing. This runs deep.
And if you want a really good video about all aspects of the Bloodline family tree, Wrestle Talk have done a very good video on it. It's a nice chunky 40-minute video. It covers every member of the bloodline and of all the entire dynasty there. So it's definitely worth checking out if you've got some spare time this weekend. So Rock and Cody, they've had their bit. It's going to be kind of there's going to be a time before we get back to The Rock. So at the moment, Cody from last night's SmackDown, we now know that he's going to be facing either LA Knight or AJ Styles at Backlash for his first title defense. Smart money's going to be AJ Styles. smiles.
Yeah.
Jay Styles.
AJ Styles. He's not smiling.
He's not smiling at the
emo
moment.
boy.
He's not smiling. He's just very annoyed.
Emo boy.
I'm not letting that one go, Ian.
It's like AJ smiles. No, AJ Styles. So Cody is likely facing either LA Knight or AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be AJ because you need
It's
that
Styles,
heel.
yeah.
It's that heel babyface dynamic. AJ is reliable. He'll be a good first challenger. He was not going to win the belt, but at least we'll have at least a decent match, maybe 2 out of this. Plus, chances are LA Knight's going to get involved in that match. So yes, so we have an idea of where Cody's going for his sort of first sort of safe feud to begin with. Back on the what do we call it? Back on Red Brand, Raw. There you go. I know. I just remember what Raw was called now. It's red, isn't it? Raw is red. So World Heavyweight Championship was briefly won for about 5 minutes by Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. And then Priest cashed in and became champion. So there was a fatal 4-way on Raw. We had Bronson Reed, we had Jey Uso, we had Ricochet, and we had a very irate Drew McIntyre, angry at Bondage Undertaker, by the way. They're embracing the love for Damian Priest in those regards.
I love it.
Yep, and much to the annoyance of Drew. Oh, that Bondage Undertaker. Oh God. Anyway, as much as Drew had that match won, lo and behold, still being the scamp that he is, CM Punk popped out from under the ring, grabbed his boot, and he went, "Hi, friend," and Jay capitalized. So Jay is the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, I don't see him taking it off Priest. I think Priest will hold on to it comfortably for a couple of months at least. I think so in that regard. So that's where we're going with the World Championship at the moment. Other belts at the moment, we have Sami Zayn defending the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable next Raw in Toronto, which is going to be interesting considering they were buddies. A sense of heel turns coming from Chad.
Heel turn,
especially after the promo. Yeah, because he said, "I'm going to make everyone cry. I'm going to make his family cry." Next week on Raw.
He did a very strong-armed promo at the I think it was the Raw replay or whatever.
It's the post-show interview stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting, but it'll be a very good match. I think that we'll have a lot of fun with that one.
That'll probably be match of the night material, I think.
Yeah, that might be the main event. That probably will be the main event. And in terms of the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, Rhea got ambushed by Liv with a flying chair backstage. So
to the head.
It's like when we were playing 2K24 last week. You say, "Hey, Rhea, catch."
Skeleton. Yeah.
I think we're entering a Rhea Liv program.
It was building up to it anyway. So.
Yeah, we've been building up to it anyway, and I think that's probably got some fire to go for the next couple of shows at least. I think the question with Rhea then is if Becky's not the one to kind of dethrone her at this moment in time, who eventually is going to dethrone Rhea? I think the smart money's got to be on Liv at this rate now.
Yeah, because obviously their friendship and obviously stuff that happened before, it's been slowly building up. Even before WrestleMania, because she tried to interject, and then could be David versus Goliath, pretty much. It could be that storyline, because it has happened before. Probably not straight away.
Yeah, I think if there's any total change going on, might be SummerSlam at this rate for Rhea. But I think we're at a point. I think WWE's probably at a point where they probably will be turning Rhea into monster babyface, because the crowd reactions for her are so positive and so loud not to ignore that sense. So maybe you do a turn for Rhea becomes the babyface, Liv becomes the heel.
Yeah, double turn, yeah.
As much as Liv can garner a lot of sympathy from the audience, except when she's wrestling Ronda, and to be fair, that's not Liv's fault. There was just no chemistry between them. We saw a sliver of a heel Liv during the Elimination Chamber, and God, for that brief moment, she she can literally ride on being detested. She could be a very good heel.
I liked her kind of extreme phase when she was having a feud with Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
I think it was just post Thunderdome or something like that. And she just went into like this stage of I was like I'm off kilter. Me, I can do extreme stuff. I can jump through tables and throw chairs at people. And I kind of liked that direction we were going to, because I mean that's how we went towards. No, that was around the Extreme Rules of her and Ronda at that time. So I kind of do like that element of her character. So maybe if they take that and combine it with a bit of a new direction here for it to be like a proper heel, I think this could work. But at the moment, I generally don't know who would be strong enough to take the belt off Rhea in a couple of months' time. I mean, it's
no,
because I think Jade is going to be busy with Bianca for a bit. So
yeah, and she's on SmackDown, so
yeah,
it's kind of
I said this, I think, during the WrestleMania review, and I think I'll maintain this. I wouldn't mind seeing Rhea hold that belt until next WrestleMania. It gives you a year to actually fully build like a plethora of very valid opponents for her, rather than just throwing stuff up against the wall.
But also, you don't want her to fall down the same trap as what Roman did in regards to not having many opponents before then, because then...
For sure. And this is why you need to build valid opponents. You can have the filler arcs, and you can have literally people built to face it. So by the time that time comes, it's earned, like really earned. Because right now, as things stand, there is literally not that many people that can match up to her.
Yeah. Nia Jax, maybe, but we've already had that match. So
I think also just in comparison to Roman's reign, I think in comparison to that, I think because Rhea's probably going to be around WWE, she's around WWE a lot more than Roman was. So I think even if she does hold it for the next year, she's not going to vanish off screen. She's not going to be just hanging in the background. So if she's one of the most popular wrestlers in WWE right now, you have as a focal point. So even if she's not defending on every premium live event, at least there will be stories going on that will involve it. And now I think that would, again, that's the opportunity to really start building the challenges, because this past year, some challenges just haven't kicked into gear until we entered WrestleMania season. So now we're in a better position. Oh, I keep saying we. I think now WWE is in a better position to build on that, I feel.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And obviously with her involvement in Judgment Day as well, because now Damien is champion. She's champion, double champs, but obviously there's the tag champs are now gone, so they could kind of capitalize on that, on pushing Finn and JD and Dom as well, like, well, you're not champion sort of thing, and just kind of carry on with that dynamic, because that seemed to be the thing for a while, where the tag champions were hot tagged at some point, and then so you're right. I think Rhea will be on, because obviously she's kind of leader of Judgment Day, so
I'd say that's shared now. That is such a strong
it's shared
of her and Damien with those belts, because that design actually really, really suits both of them.
Oh yeah, because they're the same. So
absolutely. Even if Judgment Day were to break up, I hope they don't break her and Damien Priest up, because they work so well together. So long may both of them reign. Because to be fair, I wasn't entirely convinced about Damien. I may have even said a couple of times, no way is he keeping that belt. Now we got the full presentation of him with his new music, and that belt just suits him so well. It's a good fit.
Even I had my doubts. I didn't think he would have a successful cash in. I think I even said it to Ian as well at the live event. Was just like, I don't think he's going to cash that in, or it's not
considering it had to be successful, because I think the last few have been so poor. I think with the exception of we had Big E's cash in, but you've had one successful cash in over the space of possibly we had Theory, failed, Big E, successful.
Yeah.
Before that, was that Brock or Braun? No. Before that was it was a Miz. Was it Miz?
Hold on.
He politicked his way into getting.
Yeah, it was Otis. Yeah. So again,
Otis,
Otis, and then after that, who's after Otis? That was the last.
While he is having a big think, Jeremy in the chat is literally tripping over himself talking about how do you put the Usos back together. To which I say, because he's got this big elaborate chat here, to which I say, Jeremy, forget about it. Just forget about it. It's called a reset button. Nobody cares. People will just retcon history. It's fine.
Yeah, it was Damien who won it last year, and I think it was Otis. Biggie. Why is it skipping?
Yeah,
2022?
So it was.
Oh,
it's
Theory.
been Damien. Austin was a fail. Biggie was successful. Otis technically a fail because he didn't actually follow through with it. Brock Lesnar was successful. Braun was a failure. Baron was a failure. Yeah, so you've had more failures over the last couple of Money in the Banks, and it's like, I think you had to do a cash in that worked. Otherwise, it would have.
Yeah,
I think the Money
made
in the
a
Bank,
mockery.
It becomes that.
And in the end of the day, WWE themselves really, really, really want Money in the Bank to be one of the big 4 or 5.
Well, it's the big 5 now, isn't it?
Yeah. So in order for that to happen, they need to have legitimacy towards the winners of those things.
Yeah.
I think the cash-in. I think that means the cash-ins in themselves need to work. And I think where some of the cash-ins that have been successful have kind of they've been kind of like short-term kind of wins, I suppose. It's like the booking around Big E's reign was atrocious, to be perfectly honest.
It's also the atmosphere in which it was placed in as well.
Yeah.
That was a really hectic time.
Yeah.
Before we move off this, though, did any of us expect Damien to cash in?
No.
I sensed there may have been a tease, but I expected him to cash in after Mania.
I think that was the first time I lost my voice that evening, was just like, what? And I think I burst out laughing because I was just like laughing more at Drew and the whole situation, but I was also like, get in there, Damien. Amazing.
And that is why this was a successful cash-in, because if we were expecting it doesn't quite ring true. So for that, they worked it beautifully, because they made us forget as well through the booking. They made us forget there was even a Money in the Bank outside of him carrying the briefcase.
Yeah,
and it starts accelerating Drew and Punk, which I think is going to be a money feud going into the summer.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Sure.
So hopefully Drew will resign. Will resign with WWE. I mean, they've got.
I mean, we're going down that route.
Well, we've got a premium event happening. I wonder if he's going to go down the proper Punk route of going, I'm going to win the championship or something like that, bugger off.
Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
So he could win it. He could win it at Clash of Castle. Say, I'm leaving after Clash of Castle.
Yeah.
Take the belt, walk off. We think he's gone. He's properly gone, and then he comes back. Because I think if they actually go down that route, I think that technically it's a given he's resigned. But still, there's no official confirmation that he has resigned yet. But it's like,
I want that so to happen.
I think he's having the time of his life with this character and this role.
Yeah,
it's been good.
Now we know that WWE are actually trying to get their fingers in the collective pie, as it were. You can imagine Drew going into a GCW show.
Or TNA. Go back to TNA for a bit.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, turn up at GCW or turn up with TNA at TNA. It's like, oh yeah, I left WWE. I've got this belt here. It's mine.
Shawn Michael Dunn has said in the chat that he's in McDonald's, but what he saw of SmackDown, the Bloodline story is getting exciting. I would say more interesting and exciting, but I agree.
It's the groundwork.
Great to see Solo talk more. And I agree, because Solo showed so much personality on SmackDown last night. This is what he needs. Yeah. This is exactly what Solo needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking for the rest of my sort of after Mania note. We've got Bayley facing Naomi for the women's title at some point. She beat Tiffany last night in a sort of number one contenders sort of off the cuff match. That just kind of happened.
It literally just happened. Yeah,
it happened. Other things going on around WWE post Mania in NXT. Braun and Corbin lost their tag belts. That means Braun is now officially on SmackDown. No ifs or buts, he's not in NXT anymore. But as soon as Axiom and Nathan Frazier won it, the Final Testament turned up. So it's like, okay, they've got NXT, which seems a bit. I think will probably suit them for a bit. Try and get the characters working a bit more. I think what's definitely improved, I think, over the last year is just the integration of say the world of the main roster stuff onto NXT, because there's a nice sort of crossover. There's no ignorance of what they've done on NXT when they come up to the main roster now, or when they talk about their pasts. So there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
Also on that point, we had the main roster debuts of Roxanne Perez and Ilya Dragunov as well, and they outright said that both of these people are being put in the draft pool. So for sure, these are call ups. They will be on either Raw or SmackDown. Yeah. I'd say definitely for sure, both of them to the main roster. I was about to say SmackDown for some reason, but think we will get there because I've got a mindset about this draft being very important. So
and considering the latest developments in NXT, where Trick's having a battle against Ilya at Spring Break in a couple of weeks, with the condition of if Trick loses, he leaves NXT. Kind of think Ilya's dropping the belt. Which means it kind of works.
Go to main roster,
main roster side of things. And I think we are going to probably do another kind of stream or video ahead of the draft. We're going to have a little fun. We're going to have a deck of wrestlers. We're going to have a big deck of wrestlers, and we're going to assign them to a brand as part of the draft, and see if our collective draft minds can create the perfect rosters for all these brands going on. I don't have anything else to really add on the Aftermania stuff, unless anyone else has anything to say.
Sheamus is back.
Sheamus is on his way back, yes.
And thanks to SmackDown, we now know he's for sure going to Raw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe he can help Drew fight Punk for a bit.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. That's another contender for a World Heavyweight Championship right there.
So in the chat, Snap Grapple Pop, who's also followed us on Twitch, thank you so much for the follow. Basically, he's saying, who would you rather win the World Heavyweight Championship more? During Glasgow at Clash at the Castle, or Berlin for Gunther?
During Glasgow, because he needs his redemption after the Clash of the Castle last year.
Well, here's the thing. The draft could very well send Gunther to SmackDown. And we have Gunther versus Cody.
Title.
All the US title thing. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes.
I don't want Gunther to have a mid-card title.
No, he should be in the main event.
Oh, not anymore. No.
He's main event now.
Yes. He's proved it.
Yeah.
He's done that. 666 days,
It's under the devil. Was it? I found it quite interesting that Reigns' title defense ended at 1,316 days.
I think it was one day after the Hulk reign.
That's clever.
The significance of the 316. Originally, I thought, Austin's coming out. Obviously, he didn't.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't come to an agreement. But it was just like, I just found it fun. It's like, that's uniquely apparent that it's 316 days plus 1,000. That sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made a point in commentary to say that when Reigns defends his title on night 2, I think it was one day after the big Hulk Hogan
main eventing
record.
Yeah.
So So you
had a question about that at the thing.
Yeah, it was a point of contention saying who is the person who's main evented the most main, and it's just like, well, this point in time it's Reigns and Hogan, so it can't be anyone else.
No. Honestly, I can't think of anything else except to say that it's been a fantastic week of WWE wrestling. There was not a show I didn't dislike. I enjoyed all of that all through the week.
Sorry, go on.
I'm sorry.
No, go on. I've had my point. It's fine.
I've just been enjoying a lot of like the post-Mania content on YouTube and so forth, and the social media stuff. I think it's been quite fun to enjoy and just kind of see the positive vibe go on. This is kind of like the moment. This is kind of like it's like WWE have kind of reached a real big turning point. Now, basically, the job for them for the next couple of months, now we're in Mania off season, is to keep that going until we get back towards the Mania season next year.
SmackDown, go on.
No, I was going to say, I talked about it on my stream, how it's good to be a wrestling fan at this point, because it's like after so many years, especially with WWE and storylines we've had and storylines we've hated and bookings we've not agreed, it's kind of like it is a nice feeling to think, okay, I have faith in this going forward, and I have a feeling I know where these storylines might go. You will still have a few dips, of course, but also it's mainly I'm looking forward into regards to what happens moving forward, the storylines, what's happening. Heck, even for Backlash, it's like, okay, so we see what's going to happen now. I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, SummerSlam coming up, the roots are being planted, like with the new bloodline as well, and it's just like, okay, I like this now. Keep going with this trajectory. I like the way this is being planned. So
I think the way we can look at Backlash coming up in a couple of weeks' time is basically it's going to be the same like the Puerto Rico show last year. It's going to be a glorious house show, but we're going to have some fun with this, and I think we're going to get some good matches out of this as well. And finally, before we move over to the other main wrestling company in a few moments' time, Draft me again. Has said I could see maybe Imperium main eventing the Berlin show, a trios match, maybe Imperium versus the Bloodline.
That would be good.
Could be fun. But I think you kind of want some. I kind of still feel you're having Gunther in the main event challenging for a world title.
Yeah,
and if it's the World Heavyweight Championship, chances are he's winning it.
Yes.
I wouldn't say necessarily he's going to win it. We all said this about Drew at Clash of the Castle.
I know
last year, 2 years ago.
But Matty, let us dream. Let us dream, Matty.
But wouldn't it even be? We said this about Cody. Wouldn't it be even more beautiful if Gunther earns it down the line on, say, one of the biggest shows?
Yeah,
I could see that working. I can see that working. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Gunther's entering the main event scene and will be probably a world champion by this time next year.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a bumper week for WWE. It's been an interesting week for AEW. So I think everyone is aware what's gone on now. All kicked off. CM Punk on the MMA Hour doing an interview, explained his side and opinions on AEW, especially around the All-In situation and his issues with Jack Perry. And during the Saturday of WrestleMania, during the Collision taping, news that we get All-In footage from Wembley, and that incident in particular between Punk and Perry being aired on Dynamite. This also, I believe it's also been reported that it came off the back of other jabs and pokes from WWE on not necessarily main television programs, but on things like podcasts and stuff like that. So it's kind of like okay, you're taking pot shots at us. Let's take a pot shot in this way, and this happened. There's no real way to really kind of go into this without just kind of groaning and kind of rubbing your face like it's like, really?
You can see now the split seconds in the last 30 seconds how happy we were, and now all of us have the same faces of God, why did this have to be a thing?
It's like Chris Hero in the backstage footage after the fight been broken out. It's like, why is this happening again?
Hero, I mean,
if I'm allowed to get on my podium, because I've been thinking about this for the last several days. In 2018, I supported and I watched All In. In 2019, I was really, really excited for competition to finally be in the forefront, because competition makes wrestling better. I love professional wrestling. I am a fan of professional wrestling. I drum the workmanship, womanship of professional wrestling. I am here for professional wrestling. I am not here for pettiness. I hated the Monday Night Wars in the 90s. It turned me off both products. I hate it. I despise it with a fiery passion. I hated the night that Vince McMahon bought WCW, because you could see the rubbing in everyone's faces. The ultimate losers for anything like this week, not only is AEW, because they'll be fine. Nothing changed. absolutely nothing changed by their actions. We know, even the friends of the guy know CM Punk is an arsehole. They all admit it. He himself pretty much admits it when he isn't too busy drumming to the beat of his own ego. I love CM Punk, by the way, and I say that, and it hurts me to say that, but it is true. I did on Thursday morning. Usually I would watch AEW Dynamite because I like watching the weekly product. I didn't do that on Thursday. I went straight to the Fireworks Factory. I'll plug her because she's a fantastic YouTuber, Denise Salcedo. I watched her reaction because that was we came to see a car wreck. And that's what this was. And I saw that and I didn't go, oh, well, now I've really got to watch AEW Dynamite. For the first time in a long while, I didn't watch AEW Dynamite because I was sick to my stomach that a company based on the infrastructure of garnering a social media, mass media platform, because that's what AEW ultimately was. It was off the back of All In. It was off the back of the growing independent scene. It was off the back of Cody Rhodes, funnily enough, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega building this huge, huge love of wrestling outside of the WWE bubble. What the hell was Tony Khan thinking when he did this, knowing full well that people weren't going to be interested in his program? They were just wanting to get to the Fireworks Factory. This is such an own goal. This is such a pathetic, stupid, passive-aggressive own goal. It's not going to affect your product in the long run. Everybody came out with a sense of apathy, and the people that didn't come out with a sense of apathy, for the most part, either drew their own conclusions on Saturday when AEW on Collision announced they were going to do this. The people that were pro-Punk already made up their minds up. The people who were against Punk already made their minds up. So that affected nothing. This program achieved nothing except my apathy. This was the day in which we were riding such a high off the back of possibly one of the best WrestleManias out there. This is the week where professional wrestling failed us as fans. It really did, because we want to see professional wrestling achieve, succeed. I don't care what product I watch, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, whether it's CMML, whether it's some independent show with a rusty ring somewhere in flipping Haywards Heath. I do not care. I am here to watch professional wrestling. I am here to be hooked, lined, and sinkered by fantastic storytelling in the ring. I am not here for petty squabbles, childish debates, and schoolyard bants. I'm not here for that. You failed me, Tony Khan. Now get my attention again through your actions and through your product. Your product, your pay-per-views. I will still watch AEW Dynasty because they do fantastic pay-per-views. I'm not here to see shots fired. I do not care. And people that are out there just to see the world burn are there to see the world burn. But by God, do not leave the scorched earth afterwards. Support professional wrestling. I'm done.
No, totally agree. It is one of those things where after having such a fantastic week and the wonderful build-up and a lovely story finishing, and then suddenly for one person to go, do you know what? I'm just going to throw my toys out of the pram because screw everyone. And I kind of, even probably poorly tasted tweets, as they say, after me uploading me enjoying wrestling and this to happen, and I still stick by that, but also for the fact that this shouldn't have happened. It was literally, there is no point to it. I hate the fact that this was included in an angle as well. I know some people like it. I don't. I really think this is in bad taste in regards to what was happening. Also, the footage itself yeah, it pretty much said what CM Punk, what he said on the interview he did. There are still people out there who are still against that, and I know no one came out good out of this. That was still not nice to watch.
No one
at
won.
all. No one won. This is the thing. You just threw this into open air, and nothing was achieved from it. It was very much, you've done nothing at the end of the day. I know I messaged Matty that screenshot that Tony Khan tweet saying, "Oh, we've gained so many ratings," and I'm like, no, you didn't. If anything, you have like Matty said, you have prevented people from actually watching your show in the future. This is collateral damage for you. This is more, you've really messed up big time in regards to showing this. And then the ironic thing is that in their YouTube video, they can't even show the footage itself, and they're demonetizing everyone who can.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the ironic thing. I went to see it like Matty. I went straight to watch the thing. Didn't work. Okay, social media, because everyone was showing it. I even saw the crowd reaction to it as well, and everyone was chanting CM Punk. So it's just like, well, what have you conquered with this, or accomplished with this? You're supporting the person who you were trying to dismiss, and now everyone's talking about him. And everyone probably wanted to watch SmackDown because they wanted to see, oh, maybe CM Punk might do something. You know, it's kind of back and forth, but the wrong back and forth. It's kind of, can we focus on what's good in wrestling at the moment instead of being like, oh, well, because someone said this about this thing, I'm going to double down and say it on this show. And it's just like, no, please don't. Yeah. It's kind of, let us enjoy this. There's so many different fandoms that, that are horrible, but also right, yeah, that's me done.
I mean, the logic of this is kind of, you're giving airtime to someone who is no longer in your promotion.
Yeah.
And it's like you're only going to bring in the people who are following that person. And it's like, I think it only went up, I think it was like 7, it went from 7,000 odd to like 8,000 odd. So there was a slight increase, but guarantee you it probably will drop back down to 700 next week. To be honest,
maybe less.
It's the equivalent of having a low after having a massive sugar rush. That's it.
Yeah.
Because people will only tune in to see that, and then they're like, "Okay, we're done." Bye.
I think ultimately it's like we've already said. No one came out of All In great. I mean, because I watched the full interview of Punk when it happened live, and it's like, my opinion on what I think about Punk hasn't changed. I think, yes, he's a great wrestler, he's a character, but yeah, I sense there's that sort of ego side. There's also that possible Finn Lair side and so forth. So it's like even when he's saying, "Oh, I choked him a bit," it's like, that's still not really acceptable in the slightest. And that is a fireable offence. What happened in the video is a fireable offence in that regard.
Yeah, the one caveat we take back from this footage is that we know 100% now he was the aggressor. Nobody came to him. He marched straight to them.
Yeah.
He got in Jack Perry's face. We don't know what Jack Perry said. It could be, well, if you feel that strongly, give me, do it then.
Yeah.
We don't know. But we know who threw the first punch. We know who did the first tackle. It was CM Punk. Do I give two shits? No, I don't. It's done. It's done. It's done.
Like nearly a year ago, and obviously, this will be talked about in years to come. But also the fact that, like you said, Ian, that main person. The two people are not part of that company anymore, and the fact that Jack Perry's sales went up because of this.
Yeah.
It's not really the way you wanted it.
I think Perry's coming back into. Well, Perry's. I think still. It's been reported that he is still part of AEW. Anyway.
He is still part, but not on AEW. Yeah.
At last night's, or was it actually this? No, it would have been last night's New Japan USA show. He lent into it completely. He had the Chicago flag.
Oh, did he?
He had the Crimea River leather jacket, and of course the Scapegoat merch. So this is looking fantastic for Jack Perry. Even if AEW never use him again, he's going to coast off this for the rest of his career.
Yeah,
at least for this moment, at least.
I think one of the key things that I took away from the Punk interview is I think the valid criticism of how business is sometimes handled in AEW, and you have to kind of look back and you kind of think a lot of this, all of this, the whole landscape of wrestling could not have changed like this if, say, a boss stepped in at the right time as soon as clearly things were kicking off. So say if in the interview he talked about talking to Tony and other people saying, hey, after the Hangman promo that went off the rails, so basically, hey, can you deal with this, please? And try and get some ground, or just try and get some mutual ground, just some clear boundaries set up. And what goes to show, and it's like my takeaway from this is my viewpoint. Obviously, there are other viewpoints, so this is mine. It's not the factual gospel or anything like that. The way I take away from it is basically you had ample opportunities at times to stop this from happening, and you didn't. Yeah. And this is what's happened. And if all anything, it's kind of validated Punk's point to me that Khan is not a great boss. He's a great fan. He puts on wrestling shows. He's very passionate. But this kind of doubles down the sort of thing. Is he someone you really want to have in charge?
No.
I said this, full disclaimer, this has been a hotbed of discussion between the four of us, and Jeremy included, who finished his point by saying, and quite rightly, this is something I just don't have the heart to talk about. Yeah. I have no desire, and you fair props to him. He's absolutely right. Yeah. It's not just the Punk thing. We have seen instances of this and how it's handled throughout AEW's history, where it be from the Andrade, anything involving Guevara. Anything involving Guevara. The one thing, underlining thing you see there is how things are handled, and it never seems to be handled well. And any kind of criticism throughout its history has been met with rebuttals and put downs. When Tony Khan was grilled about the lack of women's wrestling in AEW, he shot them down with numbers and figures and other bullcrap. But it's a blanket which covered over the fact that you still had a problem. Yeah. I think we all talk about Chris Hero. The big glaring thing we need to take away from this as well is when that footage was shown and they cut back to the commentators, you see Tony Schiavone literally like this.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone is a member of the talent relations department. He has every bloody right to have that reaction. Now do something about it, Tony, and I don't just mean Khan. Put an infrastructure in place and have some proper management, because problems like this is going to be happening, will continue to happen. If you don't think this stuff doesn't happen in WWE as well, you're sadly mistaken. We know for a fact it certainly happens in New Japan. They have troubles all the time over there. You got fights between promotions. You can't have AAA talent and CMLL talent in the same roof.
Yeah,
squabbles happen everywhere. It's how you handle it and how you manage it. And it is now come at a time when WWE are reshuffling their talent relations roster to try and strengthen it. Take a good look. But the problem here will always lie with the buck stopping with Tony Khan. And this is where Tony Khan needs to start learning from his mistakes. But I'm sure he probably won't, because this is also a man who on his own social media takes shots everywhere, takes absolute pot shots everywhere, and not even in wrestling, in his business in general, because he does this with his football tweets as well. It's literally like watching a man-child. And I hate to say this, because I think the man has put together a really, really good infrastructure for a fantastic wrestling promotion. But this well has been tainted now for quite some time.
I would, it's like AEW has helped the wrestling landscape. It's made opportunities better for wrestlers. It's created alternative content which people have embraced, and it has now forced WWE to get better, and they have got better. But the fact of the matter is, we're now into year 5, coming into year 5 at least of AEW. So it's like it's been 5 years. The honeymoon period is very much done and dusted now.
Yep.
And it's like I don't watch a lot of AEW programming regularly. I will watch big moments. I do want to watch Dynasty for Ospreay Danielson because I think that's going to be a great match. It's like I appreciate what they bring and I appreciate the brand per se, but things like this turn me off.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest, it's like this. You're right. This isn't the first time they've taken pot shots at WWE or so forth. They've been doing it throughout the years. It's getting to a point where it's just like, I think a lot of us, and even in our pro chat, it's like, I don't care anymore. I don't want to see AEW taking shots at WWE. I don't particularly like WWE taking shots at AEW, but it's just like, just focus on your product, make it the best.
I will finish this to say to anybody who may be watching this, who are into tribalism, who are into like, haha, yeah, you stick it to them. 5 years ago, Cody Rhodes took a sledgehammer to a throne, signifying that this is what I think about your promotion and your figurehead. Cody Rhodes, by that same gentleman, and we watch this for pomp and circumstance. We all know what wrestling is behind the scenes. That same individual that's just helped Cody become one of the biggest superstars on the planet.
Yeah.
After Cody went back to the promotion, we thought he'd never go back to, but to be fair, in our hearts of hearts, always knew he probably would. After everything that was said and done.
Yeah.
The Will Ospreays of the world that make little jabs about Triple H having sexual relations with one Stephanie McMahon, given the right circumstances, the right deal, the right things in place, who knows, in a few years, Will Ospreay will be absolutely kissing like the WWE logo in front of everybody, because that is wrestling and that is business.
Just to come in on the Triple H comments from the Pat McAfee show in that sense, it's like, okay, yeah, to a point, I think they were kind of aimed at Ospreay, but a lot of the big money signings that they've brought into AEW at the moment, they are big money signings, and yes, they get a better deal, and it's like, that's fine, but it's like, if they want lesser dates, fine, it's their call. Yeah, but it's just a different work ethic sort of things. It's basically, that's how Triple H views people coming in or newer talent coming in, working into the companies, and that doesn't line. You can't say Ospreay hasn't grinded, because he's done a lot on the independent scene for British wrestling, especially in Japan, stuff like that. So it's like, I don't fully agree with Triple H's comments on that. But again, you look at there are other wrestlers that come in and have that relaxed schedule or so forth, and it's like they haven't really done much. I mean, I don't want to kind of shoot myself in the foot. It's like I see where he's coming from. He doesn't want someone coming in who hasn't done a lot on the circuit to kind of just go, oh, I just want to do 4 shows a year for this amount of money. It's just like, well, no, you've seen how Damian Priest has always been has been grinding, using Rhea grinding. You've seen Rhea and all that. And that was a bad thing that I got into that. And I apologize.
Right back to bisexual Undertaker.
Yes. You've seen how the talent that's come up through WWE have worked their asses off to get to that point. It's like we're coming into contract season for people like Seth and Becky and all that sort of stuff. Now it's like, in a full, absolutely. If they turn around and want similar deals like Roman saying, I don't want to work all the shows, I want to have time and stuff like that. Great, fine. You've proved to that company at least that you deserve that sort of element. And eventually down the line, you could probably see Cody do the same thing, that sort of side of things, that sort of thing. But I think it's obviously with brand new people coming in and kind of thinking that. It's like, I think it's kind of being the right fit for, it's a work culture thing. You want the work culture to be right.
Yes, exactly.
I guess. So I think in Ospreay's case, the work culture in AEW works better for him, especially with his family situation, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I totally expected him to sign with AEW. There's like, as much as WWE were going to try, it's like those bits.
No, he was always going to be.
His best fit for AEW right now. In that sort of thing.
Yeah,
in that sort of way.
Ospreay is exactly where he wants to be right now.
Yeah.
In a few years' time, that situation may change. Everybody are currently where they would want to be. The ones who have just been signed in, those situations may change. Tribalism is so dumb. To finally put both of these to bed, both of these situations to bed, a person that we thought was never, ever, ever coming back to the WWE went to AEW and said he's now back in professional wrestling since the day he left Ring of Honor. Went back to WWE and said he's finally home.
Yeah,
that covers both CM Punk and that basically covers.
I'm gonna say CM Punk as well. Yeah,
with the right deals and the right situations at best, all of the people that you cut that currently feel that tribalistic thought mentality will go where the money and the business and the situation takes them. So just enjoy the ride. And I say again, enjoy professional wrestling.
Indeed.
Because there isn't many things in this life that we enjoy, but let us just please enjoy this, because this is something we talk about and we love talking about, but we want to talk about good stuff rather than bad stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's not even bad stuff, it's just apathetic stuff.
Yeah.
We shouldn't
stuff that
be
doesn't really need to be talked about, yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't be talking about this. And yet, so dumb.
Indeed. And I think on that note, it's time to draw things to a close there. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for chatting with us in the chat. As always, if you're catching up on Twitch or you're catching up on YouTube, please send us your comments obviously on YouTube. Comments in the comment section below, or if you want to email us, you can do so at contact@BunkaMania.com. I'm kind of enjoying these sort of Saturday morning streams. I think we should continue to try and do those. I think we should continue to do these because we want to do a bit more WWE 2K24. We obviously got our plans to do a little mock draft. There's also the return of BunkaMania Goes to the Movies, which there's a whole treasure trove of wrestling movies or wrestlers in movies, which we do need to watch and we need to kind of experience together as a team and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of exciting stuff still to happen on the channel. So yes, if you do enjoy the content on Twitch, hit the follow button, completely free to do so. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when we go live or when new content appears on our channels. And if you are listening to this on the audio only version as well, you can also subscribe to your platform provider of choice to make sure you get fresh BunkaMania in your inbox when new episodes are made available. So a big thank you to Matty and Harriet. Matty, where can people follow you?
You can find me cooling down after that epic rant. So you can find me on Twitter under MattyBoo tweets. I will change that eventually because it's not Twitter anymore. I don't care. You can also find me on Threads and Instagram under MattyBoo Super. You can also find me on Twitch under MattyBoo Twitches, and I have no idea what I'm going to be doing at the moment. Probably some more Stardew. Who knows? I need something to calm me down after that.
Thank you very much. And Harriet?
You can find me on Twitter at MangaGirl232. I think for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to switch days for streaming. So usually it's a Tuesday, but this Sunday and next Sunday, I'll be streaming in the evening slots before about 6 to 8. So I usually, so that's Harriet_MangaGirl on Twitch. I usually post on Twitter when I'm about to stream. Also, I am doing live reactions to Monday Night War at the moment. So they're weekly on my YouTube channel. Hopefully, so it's YouTube.com/MangaGirl232, and so I'm kind of trying to do as much as I can. Now we got like a little quiet period now before wrestling kicks off again in the next month. So, so yeah, you can find me on there. But follow me on Twitter. I usually put everything what I'm doing from week to week and my stuff on there.
Thank you very much. And of course, if you want to follow my content and stuff, I am the Dekker Dane, all one word, on Twitch. I am live every Monday night from about 8 p.m. reacting to the weird and wonderful world of YouTube. We've been doing how-to instructional videos or workplace employee videos. That's been and gone now. I have no idea what I'm doing on Monday, but I'm sure it's going to be wonderful fun. There's also the occasional Let's Plays and so forth. So sometimes I'll do a bit of Fortnite. Sometimes I'll be playing some games I find interesting. But yes, bundle of fun. Do join me on Mondays if you can. Right. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely weekend wherever you are in the world, and we will see you very soon on the next BunkaMania. And as I think people haven't yet realized this, I don't think I've realized this. I don't think Matty or Harriet or even the chat have realized this, but I think we're in a brand new era of WWE. Isn't that funny? Isn't that strange?
Isn't it just?
What's the weather report?
I don't know, but it looks sunny outside. I mean, this is all natural lighting today, baby.
We have sun. We have sun.
Sun. It must be summertime. It must be indeed. Until next time, folks, we'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.